Alright guys, welcome back to the DMs. Today we're going to discuss multiplication, which is basically just repeated addition, and I'm going to go into a very detailed description of what that means. And hopefully after this video you will come out of it having a better grasp on multiplication and understanding how long multiplication works with double-digit numbers. We're going to talk about times tables and how important it is to memorize them. And without any further delay, let's get right into it. Alright, let's get into this lesson on multiplication. So, as I said in the past, or just previously, multiplication is just repeated addition. I talked about addition in my previous video, so if you haven't seen that video yet, definitely check it out. Anyways, so I talked about how addition is just glorified counting, while multiplication is glorified adding. And so, what we're doing when we multiply, so I talked about in the previous video how if I say 7 plus 5, that means start at 7 and count up by 5. Well, if I say 7 times 5, what does that mean? 7 times 5 means count by 7 5 times. Or, better yet, add 7 to itself 5 times. So if you know how to count by sevens, 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, that's really easy. This answer is 35. Well, another thing that you can do is add 7 to itself 5 times. That's what you're doing when you multiply. Obviously, you don't want to do this every time because this is going to take forever. So this is the reason why you memorize your times tables. Anyways, 7 times 5 gives me 35 because if I count by 7 5 times, I get 35. I can also say 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7 plus 7 equals 35, where 7 plus 7 is 14. If I add 7 to that, I get 21. I add 7 to that, I get 28. And then I add 7 to that, I finally get 35. So, oops, I missed one. Whatever. You get the gist. So, let's talk about multiplying two-digit numbers, which we've seen in the past. Actually, you know what? First, let's talk about the times tables. If you don't know your times tables, you've probably heard of them. Maybe you don't remember what it is. It's literally a multiplication table that starts at the number 1, 2, 3, and goes all the way down to 12. I'm sure that there's some that go higher than this. But knowing up to 12 would definitely benefit you in your mathematical career. I would definitely recommend memorizing these if you're doing anything STEM-based or if you just want to get good at mental math, especially mental math. You need to be able to have these times tables memorized. So I'm actually going to switch colors here. So what you have here is you have a row of numbers on the left and a column of numbers above. And what they are saying is, what is 1 times 1? 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 2 is 2. 1 times 3 is 3. All the way down to 12. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 1. 2 times 2, 2 times 3 gives me 6, all the way down to 24. And so what you end up with is this multiplication table. Well, I'll just do the 3's, 2, 3, 6, 9, up to 36. And this goes all the way down in every direction up to 12 times 1 is 12, 12 times 2 is 24, 36, and then 12 times 12 is 144. So all of those multiplication facts are things that you should have memorized from 1 times 1 up to 12 times 12 because they're very useful in algebra, they're very useful in doing mental math, just in all kinds of math, being able to multiply. I mean, you can't just use your calculator. You know what? We're actually moving into a digital age where you probably can use your calculator for everything, but it's not worth it. It's not that difficult to memorize these. And what you'll notice is you end up with rows and columns that are, what you would get if you counted by that particular number. So if you were to count up by 2, you would go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, all the way up to 24 and so on. If you were to count up by 3, you would go 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, all the way up to 36. So each row and each column is the numbers that you would get by counting up by that number. So that's the multiplication table. anyways, let's get back on the farm and do a 2-digit multiplication, which you've seen before. So let's do just a simple one. Let's do, I don't know, 15 times 6. So 15 times 6, what you do is you take the 5 and the 6 and you multiply them and you get the number 30. And again, you get the number 30, which has a 0 in the ones place and a 3 in the tens place. So you carry the 3 because now you're in the tens place. And so now you multiply the 6 by the 1, which gives you a 6. And then you add the 3, which gives you a 9. And the answer is 90. So what in the world is going on there with the carrying? Because we already talked about carrying in addition. So what's happening when you carry in multiplication? Well, again, let's break this number down. The 15 can be broken up into 1 10 and 5 ones. And then the 6 is just the 6, obviously. It's just 6 ones. So when you multiply, 6 times 15, you first multiply the 6 by the 5, and then you multiply the 6 by the 10. And that's how you get the number 90. So 6 times 5 gave us 30. 6 times, so this 1, that's a 1. I said, you're multiplying 6 by 1, but what you're multiplying 6 by is a 1 that is in the tens place. So that's not really a 1. The digit is a 1, but the value is 10 because 15 is not 5 plus 1, it's 5 plus 10, right? So this 1 represents a 1 in the tens place. So the 6 times 5 gave us a 30, and so what we did was we put a 0 in the ones place, and we carried our 3 into the tens place because 30 is made up of a 0 in the ones and a 3 in the tens. And so then, now that we have this, we've taken care of the 5 in the 15, now we have to take care of the 10 in the 15. 6 times 10 is 60, and voila, 30 plus 60 gives us 90. I'll do one more example and try and explain it again, just in case. Do that one over here. And let's just pick two two-digit numbers. Let's say 23 times 12. So the first thing you do is 2 times 3, which gives us a 6. Nothing to carry there because we only got a 6. 2 times 2 gives me a 4. And now what happens is we are moving over to the tens place. So we have to put a 0 here because we're not using the ones place. This is the ones place, and you probably remember this from multiplication, that you put a 0 here when you do these two-digit multiplications. The reason is we're moving over to the tens place. So when I multiply this 1 by 3, I'm not multiplying a 1 by a 3, I'm actually multiplying a 1 in the tens place by 3. So 10 by 3 gives me 30. And that's why when I multiply this 1 by 3, I get the number 30 here. That 0 is already taking care of the fact that this 1 is in the tens place. And then finally, 1 times 2, again, is not 1 times 2. It is a 1 in the tens place multiplied by a 2 in the tens place. So technically, 10 times 20, which gives us 200. So when I multiply this 1 by 2, that comes out here and becomes a 2 in the hundreds place. And that is now added. So 6 plus 0 gives me 6, 4 plus 3 gives me 7, and 2, 76 is the correct answer. Alright guys, hopefully after that content you feel more comfortable with multiplication, and hopefully you've already watched my previous video on addition. If you haven't, I certainly recommend watching that one before watching the one on multiplication, because as I said, multiplication is just repeated addition, so that might clear up some concepts for you. But I hope you have a great day, and keep an eye out for the next video, which will be coming out very soon on subtraction, and always remember not to cheat.